From Fox 8 Sports, this is the Final Play, sponsored by your Southern Quality Ford dealer, built Ford tough. And the 2017 Nissan Titan, with America's best bumper-to-bumper limited truck warranty, Nissan Titan.
Welcome into the Final Play. I'm Juan Kincaid, and it's another primetime matchup for the Saints taking on a Minnesota Vikings team that they've become very familiar with since last season. Tonight's meeting at US Bank Stadium was the Saints' third in 13 months. The Saints lost the previous two meetings there, but started strong tonight. How about Taysom Hill with the pass deep down the middle? Oh, man, Michael Thomas on the other end, a 44-yard completion. Saints would get on the board shortly after that, and it's Alvin Kamara taking the flip from Breeze. Right side, into the end zone, 7-0 Saints. They led 17-13 at the half. Second half, the Saints defense comes around. P.J. Williams picked on all game long. Intercepts Kirk Cousins, 45-yard touchdown. It's a 27-13 game. Black and gold get the victory tonight in Minneapolis. 30-20 to give the Saints their sixth straight win, and their first win in Minnesota since 2011. The Saints offense wasn't blistering tonight, but it did need to be. A good complimentary game for football for the Saints. Here's Sean Payton and Drew Brees after the game.
It was a good win, obviously, against a good team we got a lot of respect for. Always when you come to an environment like this in a primetime game, it's a tough matchup, but this place is one of the harder places in our league, I think, to play. I thought early on, that momentum quickly jumped in our favor, and they were able to capture it back by going up 14-7. And obviously, the turnover in the second quarter was a big turning point in the game. You call it a 10-point swing, you can call it a 14-point swing based on where they were on the field. That was a big play for us, the fumble recovery, and that led to points. So pleased with the win. I'm sure we'll have a lot of things we have to correct.
Yeah, I think it says a lot about the team. Obviously, we come into every game with a ton of confidence. I think we feel really confident going on the road. We feel like we're battle-tested. Feel like we've won in a lot of different ways, been in a lot of different types of games already in just the first part of this season. Obviously, this one had a little extra special meaning. Just being able to come in and get a win here against a great opponent, in a very, very tough venue. And just knowing that these guys are like they're always going to be in the hunt, talking about the Vikings. And that's just, based upon the games that we've played against these guys in the past, got a ton of respect for them.
We want to take you back out to Minneapolis and US Bank Stadium, where Sean Vazan and Deuce McAllister are ready to break this game down. Guys?
Now joined by Saints Hall of Famer and Fox 8 Saints analyst Deuce McAllister. Deuce, 6 in a row. Not bad, especially inside this building, a place that had, kind of a lot of bad memories, and they made sure to remind us here of those bad memories inside the Jumbotron here today. This was a good quality win on the road against a quality opponent.
Well, it was a quality opponent, and the way that you won it was impressive. Because you go down and you look at that opening drive, and it's like, man, this is going to be a shootout. Mm-hmm. But when you go back and look at the numbers, they really were able to stifle you or at least stop you from doing some things, particularly in the passing games. I understand and know most of the times it was two high safeties, and that front four, they can get after you. But I thought our offensive line did a really good job, particularly the bookends, of slowing those defensive ends down. Daniel Hunter had gotten a sack in 7 straight games. He didn't have one tonight. Now, Linval Joseph is a different problem. He's a monster inside, and, he was able to make some plays. But, overall, I thought it was a really good team effort.
Let's talk P.J. Williams, because he was picked on early and often, a lot. But I think it's kind of a testament to you never stop competing, because you just don't know when the game will change, and you make the play that changes the game. And to me, the punch out right before half, which they're going in, probably going to pad their lead. Instead, he punches the ball at him and Alexander Zaloni. Lattimore brings it back. They score a touchdown. Complete swing. I thought P.J. Williams keeping his head in the game really turned this game. I think it's a pretty good lesson for all these young players that you never stop competing no matter how bad it gets.
Well, no matter how bad it gets, but also understanding and knowing and realizing that it's on on to the next play. And so if you can go on to the next play and have some success, even if the fumble doesn't occur, he was still able to come up with a big interception. So for him, go back and look at some of those plays, knowing that you can get better, knowing that, hey, look, I just have to turn around and see the ball on a couple of those pass plays, and, it's a different situation. So for him, continue to grow, continue to learn. It's very rare that you're going to see somebody like Thielen that's that swift, that big in the slot. Now, you get to next week, it's another challenge.
No doubt about that. What did you see in the second half? Because from my eyes, it looked like defensively the biggest adjustment really was the pass rush got after Cousins, and you saw Rankins, you saw Davenport, you saw Cam getting around the edge. All of a sudden, the pass rush started to pick up. Lo and behold, the back end played better, at least in my eyes.
Well, definitely so, and then you were able to play, maybe a little bit two safeties high, which definitely helped. But, that pass rush inside, they were rushing three guys and getting pressure. That's what one of the sacks came with Rankins, and then, Davenport, he's steady coming. Cam was close early on, and, Cousins was able to get the ball out, but, it's just impressive to watch them go out and work and have that success. And, look, we've talked a lot about the run game as far as stopping the run, but for them to be able to get pressure without having to send guys, if you can do that, you've got a chance.
That's all they've ever wanted when they make these deals to get these pass rushers, to be able to get to the quarterback with just four guys. Okay. We talked to Marcus Williams after the game. I had an immediate flashback to the last time we were in that locker room, tears in his eyes. The look was so different, and it was the most he'd ever expanded on kind of his mental kind of state, because we obviously all know what happened here last year. I legitimately, I guess as a human being, felt happy for the kid, because it was such a rough year for him, rough off season for him, but to come back here and be a part of a victory, I think that was big.
Yeah, and a cherry on top would have been to have the interception in the end zone. He's got his hands on it, just couldn't pull it in. But they're going to come. I mean, he's played and done an outstanding job lining guys up, making plays. Now, just to get him more interceptions, because he's been a phenomenal player, and hopefully this lifts at least a little bit of the monkey off of his back.
Yeah, I don't think it won't be so much of a kind of an issue kind of in the back of his mind. I would kind of relieve some of that tension, if you will. As a running back, I'm sure you like the way they finished out this game. They were grounding and pounding, riding that big offensive line with Ingram and Kamara. That's the way you want to finish a game, right?
Well, that's where you want to finish it, and they knew what was coming, and they still couldn't stop it. And so that was impressive to be able to see them line up, get in 12, get in 13, or even 21 for that matter, and just, hey, look, we're running it. You've got to stop us. And for the most part, they were able to run the football. I know they went over 100, which is always the goal, so it's a plus for them.
6-1. I think we know who comes to town next week. Oh, by the way, LSU and Bama, Saturday night. If you're a sports fan, Southeast Louisiana is going to be the place to be next week. Should be fun, huh?
It's going to be a lot of fun.
All right, he is Deuce McAllister. The Saints get a victory. Back to you guys.
Gentlemen, thank you very much. We'll get much more from Deuce tomorrow, beginning with his 8 a.m. Black and Gold Rewind. His 2-minute drill comes your way at 5 o'clock, and tomorrow night at 10:35, he and Sean will be on set for the Black and Gold Review Show. Join us for all that. Still to come on tonight's show, though, a look ahead to next week's showdown in Tiger Stadium, LSU and Alabama. What can the Tigers do to upend the nation's top-ranked team? And Tulane was able to keep its slim bowl hopes alive with a win at Tulsa. We'll take a look back and wrap up a busy college football weekend in South Louisiana. When the final play continues, stay with us.
You're watching The Final Play.
LSU and every team's measuring stick will be in Tiger Stadium Saturday night, and the question remains, can the LSU Tigers measure up to the #1 ranked Crimson Tide? Chris Hagan takes a closer look.
For the first time in years, LSU against Alabama represents more than a rivalry because of the names on the jerseys. It's a battle that has very real college football playoff hopes on the line, especially for LSU. With one loss, it's their best remaining chance to prove they deserve to be among the sports elite, though head coach Ed Ogeron says that's way too much pressure to put on one game.
It's Alabama. We all know what can happen when you win and you beat Alabama. We haven't beat them in a while. We all know all that. But I don't put that pressure on them. It's the next man up. It's Alabama. Let's play our best football.
But that's easier said than done without their best player for the first 30 minutes. Make no mistake about it. Linebacker Devin White's presence will be missed. It's on his teammates and the Tigers coaching staff to make the adjustments to keep LSU in the game.
Dave's going to do a tremendous job. Patrick Queen and Michael Baskerville and Damone Clark, those guys have been getting reps in practice. They know our defense. Obviously, we're going to have to do a couple of things different to make up for the loss of Devin White, but I know we're going to be ready. You know, just like Devin when he got hurt. We can't blink, next man up.
On the offensive side of the ball, Orgeron admits they'll have to be better than they were against Mississippi State, especially in the red zone. But he points to their big win over the other Bulldogs the week before as an example of their potential.
Georgia's very similar to Alabama, obviously. Same type of offense, different quarterback, same type of defense, ex-defensive coordinator. We have some things that we can do against those defenses if we execute right, bring out physical, tough game, and those are the things that we know we can do.
But Georgia is not Alabama. It will take LSU's best to pull off the upset, and Coach O feels like that's what he'll get out of his team.
We felt like last year we stayed with them physically. We didn't make the plays. The year before it was 0-0 going into the fourth quarter. We expect that same kind of battle.
Like the clock on the wall, LSU's bye week always falls the last Saturday in October, giving them a week for that first weekend in November against Alabama. Chris Hagan, you just heard him, now you see him. Will the extra week of work help LSU in this game?
I think it has to. I think this is the exact reason why you schedule it this way, although with the Devin White situation that we're going to talk about, maybe you schedule a cupcake team in between just in case someone's suspended. But no, I think it falls at the perfect time because this is when Dave Aranda is going to need that extra time. He's probably up around the clock, crushing coffee, trying to figure out a way to scheme this defense without Devin White for 30 minutes to keep Bama and the best offense that Nick Saban has ever had in check in Tiger Stadium. It's not going to be easy.
So head coach Ed Orgeron was in town early in the week, and he was asked the question about what he thought about the call against Devin White. He said it felt like it was unfair. It's an unfair call. We understand that everyone has their feelings on how the call is, whether it's right or wrong. But the way the rule is applied it needs to be tweaked a little bit by the NCAA. There needs to be levels of severity, don't you think?
I think that, and I think there are a couple of issues here. One, we would not even be having this conversation if it weren't Alabama. We would not think twice about this rule. We'd say it's fair, he shouldn't have hit him, but it's going to be fine because they're playing Rice next week. Well, that's not the situation, and I think this is a good thing, not for LSU right now, but at least for the long-term future, and
you hope
somebody else will benefit from it, that there needs to be an appeal process, or there needs to be, kind of like with the NBA, a flagrant 1 or a flagrant 2. The thing is, there is already kind of that system in here, right? Because you have the penalty. The penalty stands, it's roughing the passer, targeting 15 yards. Offense gets an automatic first down on what would have been an interception. Well, you go to review to look at it and make sure it's targeting, and you go into that review knowing this is going to cost a half of football. Is it actually targeting? I don't know if officials and whoever makes that call, if the call goes out to anyone else, is taking that into effect. And it's a tough decision to make in just a matter of minutes. I know that they use the normal amount of time to review the play, but it's a lot hanging on just a couple of minutes. And so I would love to see an appeal process because it's something that you can go back and see a difference in.
And what the officials cannot do is look at the player that's involved in the act and say, you know what, this is a great player, best player in the country defensively, got to let him play. They can't look at it that way. It has to be just player number A versus player B. So the replacements, Patrick Queen, Micah Baskerville, Damon Clark, are these guys enough to fill that role? Does it take 3 to fill 1?
There's no replacement for Devin White. I mean, there hasn't been for years. I mean, he is a projected top 10, top 5 pick on some boards for a reason. We saw Baskerville struggle at Florida, and that was against Florida. This is Alabama and a great defense, or a great offense. I think in a game like this is a situation where you need those players on the field that can make those freakish, cause something crazy to happen type of plays that give LSU a chance to win, and they're going to need Devin White to do that. Not to mention he's such a quarterback and a leader on that side of the ball. The way he runs that defense, I just don't see those guys being able to make up for it by themselves, but that's why you pay a guy like Dave Aranda $2.5 million, because he's got to find a way to, whether it's some different packages, getting Grant Delpit more involved around the line of scrimmage, whatever you can do to manufacture pressure and to slow down Bama's offense, that's what they have to prepare for.
Is the biggest difference between LSU and Alabama just that Alabama's quarterback, Tua Tagovailoa, that he's just that much more exceptional because they recruit the same players?
I think that's one of the things. I think when you look at wide receiver talent, they're just about there. I think when you look at defensive talent, LSU might even have the edge. But what Tua is able to do, he's such a natural in the pocket and the way he gets through his progressions, and then always knowing the perfect time to pull it down and run, being able to lower his shoulder and pick up some hard yards. He's an incredible player. And you look at that, and then on the offensive line, just getting that consistency. LSU's been hurt by some injuries, but that is what makes the difference right now. Tua is going to play a big factor, but it's how you scheme it, and if Joe Burrow does his job and it doesn't press too much, he can be a difference maker as well. It's not Tua. No one's Tua. He's the best quarterback in football right now, but LSU has some playmaking.
Well, Dave Aranda's got his work cut out for him. Still got about 6 days till kickoff. We'll keep you updated on what happens up in Baton Rouge as LSU gets set to face the #1 team in the country. He's Chris Hagan. It's a good bet that the Tigers and Tide will be part of Tuesday night's Fox 8 overtime, as will the Saints, of course, and perhaps the Pelicans as well. We'll get in-depth on a number of topics and follow what's trending. So join us for Fox 8 overtime every Tuesday night at 10:35 right here on the network. College football from Saturday. It was a good night for the Tulane Green Wave, who are on the brink of bowl elimination. They helped their cause on the road in Tulsa by finding a way to rally from 10 points down in the second half. Corey Dolphine carried the Wave's running game with 107 yards on 18 tries. He was helped by quarterback Justin McMillan, who got the start at quarterback and contributed with a fourth quarter 39-yard game-winning touchdown run. Tulane got the crucial win on the road, 24-17. Other scores from Saturday: Nicholls State whipped up on Incarnate Word, getting a 48-21 homecoming win. Tough loss to Southeastern against Sam Houston State by 3. Southern cruised past Jackson State 41-7. ULL won a shootout against Arkansas State 47-43. And that takes us to next weekend's schedule. It's week 10 already, beginning with Nicholls visiting Houston Baptist. Tulane will be in South Florida for a 2:30 kickoff. ULL at Troy. Tigers and Tide kicking off at 7 o'clock in Tiger Stadium. Southeastern back in Strawberry Stadium to face McNeese, while the Southern Jags will have a nice rest next weekend. They're off. Our high school play of the week is a hard-hitting one from Eric and Grace King. Damon Leonard on the punt return, absolutely barreling over the defender. Leonard and the Patriots that go on to win 34-0. Here are this week's Prep Players of the Week nominees. Bell Chase running back Ralph Jones accounted for 192 yards and 4 scores. Warren Easton's defense forced 8 turnovers. 4 of them returned for touchdowns against MAC 35. Edna Carr quarterback Leonard Kelly threw 4 touchdowns against Helen Cox. Log on to fox8live.com/player. Voting ends on Wednesday. And remember to head over to Fox 8 News app or fox8live.com, where the highlights and scores from Week 9 are there. Plus, you can catch up on the latest recruiting news, check out our weekly power rankings, and preview next week's action. Up next, the Pelicans will now hit the road after turning a 4-1 homestand. How about that? We'll look back at last night's loss to Utah, though, and ahead to a challenging 5-game road swing. And what's the status of injured All-Star Anthony Davis?
Final Play.
And then there were two remaining undefeated teams in the NBA, and both are in the Eastern Conference of all places. The Pelicans were the last team in the West without a loss until they ran into a buzzsaw that is the Utah Jazz last night. And not helping the Pel situation, the fact that they did not have All-Star Anthony Davis. Head coach Alvin Gentry sat him out with an elbow injury. More on that in just a second. As for the game, the Pels, they hung around, actually led after the first quarter. Then it was all Jazz, especially in the second quarter. Center Rudy Gobert was just a matchup nightmare for the Pels. He dominated things down low. 25 points, 14 rebounds. Jazz outscored the Pelicans 36-18 to pull away in the second quarter and hide the rest of the way. 132-111 was the final score as the Pels dropped the final game of a 5-game homestand. So now they'll take their 4-1 record on the road, beginning with a tough one in Denver Halloween night. They'll be in Golden State to face the Warriors. On Thursday, it's their first matchup against Portland since they swept the Blazers last season in the playoffs. Saturday night comes, they come back east to face San Antonio, and a week from tomorrow night, they'll be in Oklahoma City to battle the Thunder. The Pels do have some injury concerns right now, not just with Anthony Davis, but also point guard Elfrid Payton. Here's Coach Alvin Gentry on both.
He came in today and tried to shoot around. There's still a little bit of pain there. So, and it's like with Elfrid. I mean, I'm not going to risk anything over one game. You know, that could be something that could extend out. So, Elfrid dribbled it up the court in the third quarter. I didn't like what I saw, and rather than risk him out there, I took him out of the game and we played other guys.
All right, coming up, there was a Rougarou sighting on the lakefront last night as Fight Night invaded UNO's campus. And we'll head back to Minneapolis for some more post-game reaction from the Saints' win against the Vikings. Stay with us. Pound for pound, Regis Prograis is making a case for being the best that boxing has to offer, especially when he enters the ring in his hometown of New Orleans. Last night, the Rougarou successfully defended his title on the lakefront, and Garland Gillen was there.
Representing New Orleans, Louisiana,
Regis Rougarou Prograis fought last night in front of his hometown crowd, and once again, he delivered a win. The New Orleans East native improved to 23-0 with a decision over Terry Flanagan.
and still the WBC interim super lightweight champion of the world, Regis Rougarou.
Last time I fought here in July, I fought here and I was kind of nervous, but this time it was totally different. Like, I had fun. Like, from round 1 to round 12, I went out there and I had fun. So I love it, and hopefully we bring it back, right? We might bring it back. We might.
The fans at Lakefront Arena got their money's worth. Prograis connected with multiple combinations and went the distance. 36 minutes of action-packed boxing.
To be honest, I don't think I could have did it against him because he was tough and I was like hitting him in the top of the head and I was hurting my hand a little bit. But I mean, I wanted to go out there and box, and I think that was their plan for me to like come forward and try to catch me, but I wasn't doing that tonight. I went out, like I said, I went out there and I wanted to box around, and I had a beautiful jab. I needed to go watch the fight because I was impressed with my own self.
Most important to Prograis, he can hush the doubters for now.
I went 12 rounds. Most people, the critics say, oh, I can't do this, I can't do that. I only have power. Now I showed I can box, I can be slick, I can bang, I can do so many different things. Now, maybe they'll give me more credit than just having power.
Prograis will fight next possibly in January, and it could be back in NOLA. Promoters are looking at the Smoothie King Center as a possible venue. Garland Gillen, Fox 8 Sports.
Garland, thank you very much. The Saints had never won a game with Drew Brees at quarterback when he throws for less than 125 yards and an interception until tonight. That means others had to step up, and they did. Sean Fazan has that story from Minneapolis.
Thank you very much, guys. Here at US Bank Stadium, a lot of emotion and maybe even some relief in the locker room after the Saints' 30-20 win over the Minnesota Vikings. Of course, this was the building the Saints began and ended their season last year. But tonight, they got the victory, and everyone seems to agree. The turning point came when P.J. Williams and Alex Anzalone teamed up to force a fumble right before halftime.
Thought early on, that momentum quickly jumped.
Fix all the things I'm supposed to fix and come back stronger next week.
So the Saints return to Minnesota. They get their 6th win in a row. Right now, they're 6-1 and sit atop the NFC South standings. Up next is going to be a good one. They face the LA Rams inside the Mercedes-Benz Superdome. With the Saints inside US Bank Stadium, I'm Sean Fazan for Fox 8 Sports. Back to you.
Cannot wait until next week. And it's a huge week at every level of football, and we've got you covered here on Fox 8 every night. Tune in each night at 10:35. Monday for the Black and Gold Review Show with Deuce McAllister. Tuesday as Overtime breaks down both the Black and Gold and the Purple and Gold. Wednesday we'll have a deep dive on the Saints-Rams matchup on Game Plan. Going to be a lot of fun this week. Some big games to look forward to. That's our show for tonight. For all of us here at Fox 8, I'm Juan Kincaid. Fox NFL Game Day Prime is up next, and we hope you'll join us again next Sunday night for the Final Play.
From Fox 8 Sports, this has been the Final Play.